Do you like cheese? I'm very fond of cheese. The taste is often amazing, and some cheeses taste even better. They taste like freedom, like the French cheese, Reblochon. Today, I'll tell you the story of this particular cheese and how it's related to freedom. Reblochon is a soft French cheese made in the Alpine region of Savoie from raw cow's milk. It is, without a doubt, one of the most famous French cheeses. It is commonly used for cooking in France, and it is a key ingredient for several French meals, such as the popular Tartiflette, a Savoyard gratin made of potatoes, bacon, and onions. However, few people know the story behind the origin of this cheese. In fact, Reblochon was born as a result of an early form of tax evasion in the Middle Ages. The story starts in the 13th century in the alpine pastures of the valleys of Thône, located in the department of Haute-Savoie. At the time, farmers working in this area had to pay each year les droits de siège. It was a specific tax collected by the feudal lords, who were often nobles and members of the clergy. Les droits de siège was based on the number of milk jugs produced in one day by the farmer's cattle. From this would be deducted the quantity of butter and cheese that the farmers would have to give up to the lords. Indeed, it was common to use cheese as a form of currency during the Middle Ages. Of course, the farmers were not fond of giving away the product of their hard work to the lords. That is why they soon figured out a way to decrease the quantity they would have to give away. To do so, they would decrease the quantity of milk, as the quantity of taxes was measured according to the quantity of milk. Less milk in the buckets meant less taxes. In front of the inspector, they would do a first milking, which was only partial, and as soon as the inspector had left, they would then proceed to a second and final milking. The second milking was creamier, and it was ideal to make cheese. The product of the second milking gave birth to the cheese Reblochon. The name Reblochon comes from the word reblocher, which means to pinch the cow's udder a second time in the Savoyard dialect. The story of Reblochon is inspiring in the way that it shows us that as early as the 13th century, people were already organizing themselves in some way to defend their legitimate property from those trying to rob them. In our current societies, violations of individual freedoms and the private property persist and keep growing, which is why, just like those farmers, individuals should also do what is in their power to defend themselves from greedy politicians and totalitarian governments. After all, taxation is theft, and it will always be. And perhaps, while protecting yourself from the gluttony of the government, you might end up creating something as delicious as this cheese, or some innovation that will change the world. So, we have reached the end of this episode. If you like this content, share it with your friends and please subscribe to our channels. You can also support us with some donation at our website, libertarianeurope.com. There you can also find a lot of interesting content, not only in English, but also in other languages.